Many businesses believe follow-up quality is mostly a question of consistency. Did we reply? Did we send the next message? Did we reach out again? Did we stay visible? That sounds reasonable, and at one level it is. But consistency alone does not protect momentum, because follow-up does not create value simply because it happens. Its effect depends heavily on timing. A message sent at the wrong moment does not become useful just because it was sent with discipline. A reminder delivered too early can create pressure instead of progress. A message delivered too late can arrive after momentum has already weakened. A sequence of contact points may look active from the business side while feeling poorly timed from the lead side. This is why follow-up volume is one of the easiest things to overestimate. More contact does not automatically mean more control, more professionalism, or more movement. In many cases, it only means more visibility of the business's effort. And effort is not the same as relevance. Timing matters because decisions do not move on the business's schedule alone. They move when context, priority, attention, and readiness align strongly enough for the next step to make sense. If follow-up ignores that reality, it starts working against the process it is trying to support. This happens often in small businesses. A lead shows interest. A conversation begins. A signal of intent appears. And the business reacts by increasing contact frequency. Not because new information exists, not because the situation has changed, but because silence feels dangerous. The instinct is understandable. Silence creates uncertainty. Uncertainty creates pressure. And pressure often pushes businesses toward more follow-up. But more follow-up is not always a sign that the process is being managed well. Sometimes it is a sign that timing is not being understood. A lead can be interested without being ready to decide today. A lead can be evaluating seriously without wanting a new touch point every day. A lead can need space, internal discussion, comparison, budget alignment, or timing clarity before another message actually helps. If the business ignores that, follow-up becomes heavy. The lead no longer experiences discipline. The lead experiences interruption. That distinction matters because good follow-up should reduce friction, not create it. It should make the next step easier. It should preserve momentum without distorting the pace of the opportunity. When timing is wrong, that does not happen. The business starts confusing presence with usefulness. It stays active, but not proportionate. A message is sent because it is time to follow up, not because the situation now supports progress. That mindset creates a lot of invisible waste. The business spends energy on contact that adds no leverage. The lead receives communication that does not match their decision rhythm. And over time, the relationship becomes harder to read. Now silence becomes even more ambiguous. Is the lead disengaging? Are they busy? Did the last message arrive too early? Did the business create pressure? Did the opportunity simply need more time? Without timing discipline, those questions become harder to answer. This is why follow-up should never be measured only by whether it happened. It should also be measured by whether it matched the moment. That is a much higher standard. A good follow-up does not only ask, did we stay in touch? It asks, was this the right contact at the right time for the right stage of the opportunity? That question changes everything because now the business is not just trying to remain visible, it is trying to remain relevant. And relevance is what protects momentum. A lead that receives contact too frequently may slow down. A lead that receives contact too late may cool off. A lead that receives contact without enough situational logic may stop seeing the business as coordinated and intentional. This is one of the most common weaknesses in pipeline handling. Businesses often think follow-up failure comes from not doing enough, but very often, failure comes from doing it without enough sensitivity to timing. The problem is not always absence. Sometimes it is mistiming, and mistiming is dangerous because it can look like effort. Messages were sent, attempts were made. The pipeline appears active, yet the opportunity still weakens. That is why timing has to be treated as an operational variable, not just a communication habit. The business needs to understand when speed creates value, when patience protects value, and when silence should not immediately trigger another contact point. Without that understanding, follow-up volume becomes misleading. It creates the appearance of discipline without the benefit of real control. And when that happens, pipeline effort rises, but opportunity quality does not improve at the same rate. This is where many businesses begin to exhaust themselves. They believe they are protecting revenue through persistence. But if persistence is detached from timing, it becomes noise. And noise is one of the fastest ways to weaken trust, distort momentum, and make the pipeline feel heavier than it actually needs to be. What makes timing difficult is that follow-up is often managed through internal anxiety instead of external reality. The business feels uncertainty, and uncertainty creates movement. Someone wants to send another message because silence feels risky. Someone wants to check in again because no clear answer has arrived. Someone wants to keep the lead warm without knowing whether another contact actually helps the situation. This is where follow-up starts becoming reactive. It is no longer guided by stage, context, or readiness. It is guided by discomfort that creates a serious distortion. The business starts measuring discipline through frequency. If enough messages were sent, it feels like the opportunity was handled properly. But frequency is not the same as precision. A well-timed follow-up can move an opportunity forward more effectively than several messages sent without enough situational logic. This is because timing affects interpretation. A message does not arrive as a neutral event. It arrives inside a moment. That moment already contains context. How recently the last conversation happened, whether the lead had something specific to review, whether an internal discussion was expected, whether a deadline exists, whether the next step depends on information the lead does not yet have. If the business ignores those conditions, follow-up loses sensitivity. Now, communication may still happen, but it no longer matches the state of the opportunity. That is when contact starts feeling generic, and generic follow-up is dangerous. It signals presence, but not understanding. It shows that the business is active, but not necessarily aligned. This weakens trust in subtle ways. The lead may still respond. The opportunity may still remain open, but the interaction starts carrying less momentum. The business is visible, yet not especially useful. That is why timing should be linked to meaning, not just cadence. A follow-up should have a reason that fits the moment. Something changed. Something was promised. Enough time has passed for a decision to become more realistic. A next step now makes more sense than it did before. Without that logic, contact becomes repetitive. And repetition without contextual value rarely strengthens movement. It usually creates one of two outcomes. Either the lead disengages more quietly, or the lead remains responsive without moving any closer to decision. Both outcomes consume time. This is why good follow-up systems do not treat all silence the same way. Some silence means thinking. Some silence means delay. Some silence means internal dependency. Some silence means lost urgency. Some silence means the last touch point did not justify a reply yet. These situations should not trigger the same response. If they do, follow-up becomes standardized at the wrong level. It becomes consistent, but not intelligent. And consistency without interpretation is not enough. A business should not only ask, how many times did we follow up? It should ask, what did the silence most likely mean here? And what kind of timing fits that reality? That question improves judgment. It also protects capacity, because once timing is interpreted better, the business stops using the same effort on every quiet opportunity. Some leads need faster re-engagement. Some need more time. Some need a better reason for contact. And some should remain visible without being touched immediately. This is how follow-up becomes lighter and more effective at the same time. Not through more volume, but through better timing logic. And once that logic improves, the pipeline stops feeling like a place where constant pressure is required to keep momentum alive.